Welcome to the class. This is going to be the first one of what you'll wind up being tired of after a few weeks of a lecture. Today we're going to be doing the syllabus, the typical introductory, get to know you, chit chat type of stuff. I've already had you guys go ahead and start putting some chit chat stuff in the discussion forum online. Now, for those of you who have not taken an online course before, this is going to wind up being relatively normal. For those of you that have taken an online class before, this is somewhat unusual. Usually we don't go ahead and lecture, but hey, I guess I just like to talk. In reality, I think that part of my job as a professor is to let people know exactly what's things that aren't just in the book. There's no reason for you to just read a book, pay like however much money you pay for the class just to read a book and then get a course on it. You're supposed to learn something else as well. Part of that comes from the professor and the knowledge that I have, and I'm supposed to kind of bring that here. So these lectures are for that. We'll go over the syllabus to start with. First of all, we can definitely talk about the fact that this is a lifespan development class, developmental psychology to be specific. And developmental psychology is one of the maybe 5 or 6 big branches of psychology. You have social psych, cognitive, developmental psych, and these are all outside of clinical psych. We don't like to talk about clinical psych. That's like the ugly stepchild of psychology. And so the idea here is that we're taking a very non-clinical approach to development. So we're not going to be talking about people's life experiences and how you feel or anything like that. We're going to be talking about fact. We're going to be talking about science. We're going to be talking about experiments. And if this doesn't apply to any of you, that's fine. Anything scientific is based upon statistics. And one of the first and most important rules of any statistic is that statistics do not apply to an individual. And it's very easy to mistake that, but I really want to go over that really on stage 1. So if we're talking about, like let's say we're talking about poor black people, and we say that in a certain neighborhood, that 50% of all black people in that neighborhood are criminals, and you're walking in that neighborhood and you see a black person standing in front of you right now, what's the chance that he's a criminal? It's unknown. The 50% does not even apply to him because he's one person. 50% would apply to 100 individuals. You could say 50 of them, not each one individually, but 50 of them would wind up being criminals. But for that one person, it's totally irrelevant. So when we talk about facts here, we're talking about things that happen to most people. And there's a vast amount of variability in the human person to begin with, and that's what makes psychology so cool. Quite honestly, I would be completely out of a job if what worked for one person is going to wind up working for everybody else too. There'd be no mystery left in it, and life would be boring. So we're going to take a very broad perspective here on human development. We're going to go ahead and cover right from neonatal. I'll be honest, we're going to glance over neonatal because this is a psychology course, and we don't really like to get into the psychology of people before they're born because we can't do a lot of experiments there. We try to give the babies surveys to fill out, and they're very uncooperative, bratty little things they are. So we're going to go over things we know about a little bit more than that. But we're going to go all the way up to the end of life. And quite honestly, in a lot of cases, the end of life, we all like to kind of worship babies and think that development is all about development as a child. But that's really only a very small fraction of your life. And the really fascinating parts are later on. So we're going to go into everything. Now we have our student learning outcomes here. One thing I do want to gloss over very quickly here is that if you want to contact me, do it through Angel. Everything is going to wind up going through Angel, and that's fine. You'll wind up very used to it. If you're not that familiar with Angel yet, you will be. So get a hold of me there. I'll be on there probably every day, every other day at the very least. We have class attendance. This is the state of New York, and the state of New York requires class attendance. As a matter of fact, if you don't attend classes, you get a very special type of fail called an FX grade, which means that you fail, but In addition, there's some other rules, like you're not going to get funding later on, so life just pretty much sucks for you. Don't do that in any class. Withdraw before you FX out of a class. Don't just not show up to a class. You're messing yourself over. And in this case, we're also going to have class attendance. We're going to have a section where we'll have discussion forums. Think of it like a big Facebook page, and as long as you participate in the discussions every week, then you will have attended for that week. So then you'll have attended, you'll get the grade, and it'll be a fairly important part of your grade anyway, equal to what a quiz will be. And so that's how we're going to have to do class attendance. As far as the textbook goes, the text is called Exploring Lifespan Development. All this stuff is on the syllabus. That's already on there in case you want to know how to spell this and everything. By Laura Burke. We'll make some departures from the book because I'm a little bit more scientific than the author of the book, although the book isn't bad. One thing I do want to stress is that you have to buy the book. You cannot get around this because this is an online class. So the bulk of the reading is obviously going to be from the book, and about half of the test is going to be based on the book. Absolutely no way you can pass the course and not buy the book. On the other hand, you don't necessarily need the best edition. One edition is pretty much the same as the next. So don't worry about that so much. If you can find it on Amazon.com, I highly encourage you to do so. As far as grading goes, we'll have the discussion forums, which I'll get into in a little bit. We'll have quizzes. We'll have, I think, 7 quizzes altogether. Basically, once every couple of weeks, we'll go ahead and do a quiz. The quizzes will be multiple choice, 10 questions. You'll have all day to do it. We'll assign them on a Friday, and any time for that Friday, you can take the test. We'll have 2 papers to do. Some people ask if they can take a test on a day other than Friday. You better have a real good reason. I'm giving you 24 hours to find an hour of your time at some point in that 24-hour interval. This shouldn't break your back to do it. There are exceptions, but probably not. You can probably just do it on Friday like everybody else. So there's basically no need for makeup tests. If somebody does have a bizarre circumstance, then I'll arrange like an essay question, series of essay questions. It'll be relatively hellish, but we can at least get it done. Although I'd only ever allow 1 of those a semester. Other than that, you're just faking your excuses. We'll have 2 papers to deal with. We'll have, for those of you who've taken classes before that do this, this will be no problem for you. The first paper, I'll give you 3 different articles that you can read. Each article will be about 10 pages long, and you'll read them and then just give a critique on them. And I'll give you instructions on this further on down the road. But you'll talk about all the problems that they had, maybe some things that they did really well, maybe their participant recruitment, you could have done a little bit better. And I'll go over all these things later. This will prepare you for the last paper, and the last paper will be to propose your own research. So you'll do a little literature review, just like the format that you already had. You'll propose some research, talk about something in development that we can learn. Fill a hole in the existing literature. It's interesting. This gives you an opportunity to really go out and study in depth something that just interests you. Maybe it's something that we glossed over a little bit in the lecture and we didn't have a lot of time to get into, or maybe it's something we didn't talk about at all and you're like, I want to find out about this. So this is your time. This is your chance. Go ahead, run with it and shine. So we'll wind up having about, we'll drop the lowest quiz score, and altogether we'll have 9 or 10 grades. Each one will be worth around 11% of your final grade. Standard grading between an A and an F. F is bad, don't do that. We have some standards. I don't have to say things like don't check your cell phone in the middle of class, because this is an online class, although seriously, if you have another class that's not online, don't check your cell phone in it, please. You embarrass yourself. But we do have some standards because we're going to have discussion forums. And Um, the best way I can describe this is don't be a dick. Be nice to people. Be courteous. Take everybody seriously, and take yourself seriously. There's no reason to speak like you're trying to talk to somebody in the middle of the ghetto. There's no reason to do text speak. Speak like an intelligent individual, because that's the whole point of the discussion to begin with. And then you'll be fine. The general organization of the course itself, this is an online course. So one of the things that I want to stress to you is that some people have a bad idea of what an online course is. They do it because they think it'll be convenient for their schedule. And when they say convenient, they mean once Thursday for about an hour, they're going to check on it. They're also going to fail. And there's really no way to do anything but fail in that situation. A normal college course, and this is considered a normal college course, it just happens to be online, meets for 3 hours a week. I'll have about 3 hours of lecture a week. You're going to have to listen to those. You're going to have to listen to me talk whether you like it or not. Can't avoid that with online. I am loquacious by nature. And with a normal course, you're actually expected to do about 3 to 6 hours of work per week, in addition to the 3 hours of attending lecture. If anybody's ever wondered why 4 courses is considered a full-time student, that's because you have about, that's 12 credits, and so that's roughly 12 hours of lecture. But then you're expected an additional 24 hours of studying outside of lecture. This includes book reading, studying for tests, looking up stuff on your own, attending office hours, all this good stuff. So altogether, it's around 36 hours a week for only 4 courses. So I encourage you, do this. Put some actual time in it. If you don't, you're going to fail. A lot of people ask, why aren't I doing well? You're not spending enough time. In addition, because it's a class, and you're supposed to be doing anywhere between 3 and 9 hours a week for this one class, do not expect to do this one time a week. And I'll have other rules that'll make that basically impossible. By all means, you can do it at your convenience. You can do it at 2 o'clock in the morning if you want to. But you're probably going to want to do it every other day. Just like a normal class. Not once a week. So still convenient, but not hopelessly easy. The quizzes at the end of the weeks will wind up being open book quizzes. They have to be. This is online. This means they're going to be exceedingly difficult. But that's okay, because you'll have your notes, you'll hear these lectures, you'll take notes during the lectures, and you'll write notes about the book, and you'll look things up in the book. You can Google stuff. Research this. Take your time with the quizzes. No reason not to get an A. And I say it's difficult because I'll ask you questions that I would never ask in person. I might mention in class that there's a chart on infant development. And I'll say, go ahead and know this chart. And in class, I might ask you some generals about the class, about the chart. But here, I can specifically say, I can ask a very specific question. I can say, out of these options, which one has the baby developed at 18 months but not at 19 months? I mean, I can get really specific because I expect you to have the book in front of you, just open it up and look at it. I mean, these should be really easy if you take your time. There's going to be no time limits on the tests. Feel free to use Google, use your resources, use your notes, use your book, everything. You won't be able to go back. Once you're done with a question, you're done with that question. You won't be able to go back and change it later. But other than that, take your time. Makeup policy, hopefully we want to deal with that particular one. We have these lectures. Watch them, rewatch them if you need to. Fast forward if I make a particularly goofy face, and you want to get past that, or pause it just to laugh at me, whatever you need. Study using them, whatever you want. I'm not going to do any extra credit with this class. It's online. You should be able to get an A if you actually put some time in and do the tests well. Plagiarism policy. Don't plagiarize. Don't do it. Discussion forums. Now we get to go into discussions. So there's going to be discussion forums. Now there's too many of you to put into one forum. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys mascots. That's not a bad idea. So we'll do mascots, and we'll give you all mighty mascots. There will be a team chicken, and a team frog, and a team gerbil, because hamsters are too frightening. So we'll go ahead with gerbil. We'll do chicken, frog, and gerbil, and some of you will be assigned to each one, and this will be your group. So when you're in discussion, you'll get to know these people relatively well, and um, and I will pose a question. I'm actually going to go ahead and put it up there tonight. And for that week, you'll have to discuss these things. You'll basically have to have 3 posts in order to get a good grade. You're going to have 3 posts, and a couple of them have to be replies to other people. And this is important because you got to think about the dynamics of this. First of all, a lot of people like to. I think I'll probably close it down Saturday night. So Saturday night, 12 o'clock. The forums will shut down. You won't be able to put in anything else. So that means that, keep in mind, most of the posts you're going to make are going to be replies to other people. So if you put it off until Saturday night and you don't put any forum posts, you're like, well, I'll just get my 3 in right now. You will be docked points because essentially you're messing over all your teammates because now they can't reply to you. So don't do that. Don't just do it all on one day. It doesn't work like that. You got to it's a conversation. You got to give a conversation a little bit of time to percolate. In addition, the basic rubric is this. If you make a statement, it has to be something intelligent, not just me too, or I did that once, or whatever. Say something intelligent. You make a comment, reply to 2 people, you're going to get a C. You have done the minimum required to pass the course. Congratulations. Now, if you say something a little bit more detailed, maybe fill it out a little bit, add some more thoughts, maybe not just 3 sentences, maybe a couple of paragraphs in there. Now that's up to a B. Another thing that can give you extra points is if you research something online. Let's say I bring up bullying. This is going to be one of the topics. I bring up bullying, and you're like, this other person made a thought, but this is a research class. This is a science class. I want to find out what science is out there. So you go ahead and you do a Google Scholar search, and you find out some of the details of something, and then you give that to them. And you post a link there. You talk about the research, you talk about the article, and then you post a link for other people to see. That's the sort of thing that'll get you an A. And like I said, the discussion forums are worth just as much as your quizzes, as your papers, and it's an essential part of the grade. I've had people in the past, I emailed them, like, you didn't say anything in the discussion forum. You've been emailing me privately, and you said nothing in the discussion forum. And they said, well, everybody else said what I was going to say anyway, so I just thought I'd stay out and be an observer. Well, I can't grade you for that. Not only is this graded, but this is your attendance. I have to mark you as absent, so don't do that. There's always something intelligent to say. There's always other research to be seen. There's ways to contribute intelligently to the conversation. Just do that, and we'll be fine, and we'll have some fascinating conversations. So extra points for research, minus points if you put it off. Don't do that. Everything is going to be on Angel. The last thing that I want to say here, since everything's going to be on Angel, you're going to learn this. Almost everything is going to be in the lessons section. This is on the lesson section. Your teams will be split up in the lesson section. When you have an assignment, that'll be there. A quiz will wind up being put there. I think there's another section where your grades are going to be. Go ahead and get used to that. But other than that, it's probably tools, at least is where I get grades. I don't know if it's any different for you. And the lesson section. I'll check it several times a week. And we should be good. I think in the syllabus I put down, expect about 2 hours of classwork a day. This might be from when I was doing a summer course, and there were only 8-week classes. But still, expect every other day put in a couple of hours, just like you would a class if you were attend to it. Just attend to it in person. That said, if there are any questions that anybody has, by all means let me know. That's what I'm here for. And good luck with the class.